makes it easier to keep going because you've already invested so much time and effort that's stopping the trail of everything you've worked for. But here's the thing about consistency. It's not just about putting in the time. It's about putting in the right kind of time. It's about being intentional with your actions. Just going through the motions isn't enough. You have to bring focus and energy to what you're doing, even on the days when it feels like a grind. Consistency about being robotic. It's about being relentless. It's about constantly striving to improve, to get a little better each day, even when it feels like you're not making progress. And that's another important point. Consistency doesn't always yield immediate results. In fact, most of the time, the results come much later. It's like planting seeds. You don't see the fruit right away, but if you keep tending to the soil, keep watering, keep nurturing, eventually you'll have a garden full of abundance. But that only happens if you're patient and wait for the harvest. Too many people give up right before they will have seen the results. They plant the seeds, but when they don't see growth right away, they walk away. Don't be that person. Understand that consistency is a long game. It's not about quick wins. It's about sustained effort over time. And that's why consistency is more powerful than motivation. Motivation might get you started, but it's consistency that keeps you going. It's what separates the dreamers from the doers. The people who achieve their goals aren't the ones who are always motivated. They're the ones who show up day after day, even when they don't want to. They're the ones who keep pushing even when it's hard. They're the ones who build consistency into their lives. And because of that, they've created habits that carry them through the toughest of times. So, when the excitement fades, when the motivation dies down, and when you're tempted to quit, remember this. It's not about how you feel in the moment. It's about staying true to the commitment you make to yourself. It's about building discipline to keep showing up even when you don't want to. Because in the end, that's what will carry you to success. We often convince ourselves that in order to achieve greatness, we must perform grand, extraordinary acts. We trick ourselves into believing that monumental leaps are the only way to move forward. That if we don't make a huge splash, then what we're doing doesn't matter. But this mentality can be devastating. It's like standing at the base of a mountain, looking up at the peak and being paralyzed by the sheer size of it. The enormity of the task ahead makes it feel impossible to even start. So we hesitate, we wait, we make excuses, we allow fear and doubt to grip our hearts because in our minds we've already failed before we've even taken the first step out. But here's the truth. You need to grab hold of success. It's not found in those massive life-changing moments. No, it's built in the small actions that seem inconsequential in the moment. It's not about giant leaps. It's about those tiny incremental steps that seem too small to matter. But over time, they add up to something remarkable. Too many people get caught up for that perfect moment, for that big break, for that stroke of luck to put them forward. But if you spend your life waiting for those monumental moments, you'll be standing still forever. What you have to understand is that small steps, those little moves that seem like they aren't making a difference, are what lead to big results. Imagine for a second that you are climbing that mountain not by running or leaping, but by placing one foot in front of the other. With every step, no matter how small, when you get a little higher, a little closer to the summit, you can't always see how much progress you're making day by day. Sometimes it feels like you're stuck in the same place. But when you look back after months or years of consistent effort, you'll be amazed at how far you've come. The key is consistency. It's not about making one big effort and hoping it carries you through to the end. It's about showing up every single day, putting in the work, even when it feels like nothing's happening. You'll water it, you'll nurture it, but it seems like nothing is growing. But below the surface, where you can't see, there's movement. Roots are stretching deep into the soil, getting ready to support the growth that's about to burst forth. That's what small steps are like. You don't always see the results immediately, but that doesn't mean progress isn't happening. Think about the stories of successful people you admire. They didn't wake up one day at the top of their game. They didn't suddenly become the best in their field overnight. They took small, deliberate steps every day, often for years before they saw the big result that everyone else notices. And that's the thing. People only see end results. They see the glory, the accolades, the fame, the fortune. What they don't see, countless hours of hard work, the sacrifices, the setbacks, the failures that paved the way for that success. Those small steps may not be glamorous. In fact, they all feel tedious. It's not always fun to wake up early, to stay late, to do the same thing day in, day out. But that's where the magic happens. It's in the repetition, in the grind that you build momentum. One step leads to another, and before you know it, you've created a habit, a rhythm. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill. It starts small, but as it keeps moving, it gathers more and more snow until it's massive and unstoppable. That's what happens when you commit to taking small steps. Too many people give up because they don't see immediate results. They want a shortcut. They want the quick fix. But the truth is, anything worth having takes time. Real, lasting success isn't built on a foundation of shortcuts. It's built on persistence, on resilience, on the willingness to keep going when it feels like you're not making any progress. Because here's the thing, small steps lead to big results, but only if you keep taking them. The minute you stop, you lose that momentum and you're back at square one. It's easy to get discouraged when you're not seeing immediate returns on your effort. It's tempting to think, what's the point? But that's the moment when you need to dig deep. That's the moment when you need to remind yourself why you started in the first place. You didn't begin this journey because it was easy. You started because you had a goal, a vision of where you wanted to be. And that vision doesn't come to life by sitting back and waiting for something to happen. It comes to life through action, small, consistent action. You have to embrace the process. You have to fall in love with the journey, not just the destination. Because the journey is where you grow. The journey is where you grow. The journey is where you're tested, where you learn what you're truly capable of. Each small step is an opportunity to prove to yourself you can do this, that you have what it takes. And when the results finally come, and they will, you'll look back and realize that it wasn't one giant leap that got you there. It was the accumulation of all the small steps, each one building on the last, creating a path that led you to your goal. And let me tell you something else. Those small steps, they build character, they do discipline, they teach you patience, they force you to develop a work ethic that will serve you for the rest of your life. Because if you can commit to the small steps, if you can show up every day and put in the effort, no matter how small, then there is nothing you can't achieve. Success isn't about luck. It's about preparation meeting opportunity. And preparation happens in the small moments, in the daily grind, in the tiny, seemingly insignificant steps you take when no one is watching. So don't underestimate the power of those small steps. Don't get discouraged when progress is slow, because every step you take is moving you closer to your goal. Every step is building momentum. Every step is laying the foundation for the big results that are coming your way. You might not be able to see the finish line yet. Trust that it's there. And the only way you're going to reach it is by taking one at a time. So stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting for the stars to align or for someone to give you permission to start. Take that first step today, no matter how small it may seem, and then take another one tomorrow, a day after that, and the day after that, and the day after that. Keep moving forward, keep building, keep striving, because when you do, you'll look back one day and realize that small steps have led to something far greater than you ever imagined. Big results don't come from big leaps. They come from small, steady, consistent effort. And if you commit to that, if you commit to taking small steps every day, then success isn't just possible, it's inevitable. When you hit that wall, the one where your body aches, your mind is exhausted, and every fiber of your being is telling you quit. What do? That wall isn't just physical exhaustion or mental fatigue. It's something much deeper. It's the embodiment of every doubt, every fear, and every excuse that's ever held you back. It whispers in your ear, you can't do this. You're not strong enough. It's too hard. That's the voice of resistance. And that resistance is a universal force. Every person who has ever tried to achieve greatness has faced it. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not talent, not luck, but the ability to break through that wall that is tall in front of you. There's no avoiding it. The wall will come. It might be when you're chasing a dream that feels big, when you're working on a project that's overwhelming, or when life just seems to throw more at you than you can handle. But if you want something bad enough, you've got to dig deep and confront that wall head on. And let me tell you, breaking through is not about brute strength. It's about resilience, grit, and the willingness to keep going. Even when everything inside you is screaming to stop, that wall is of doubt. Every what if that has ever crossed your mind stacks up like bricks in front of you. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if I'm not good enough? What if they're right and I don't have what it takes? Doubts can paralyze you, can make you turn around and walk away before you've even tried. But here's the thing, those doubts are not real. They are illusions, shadow your insecurities, reflections of your fear. And fear is temporary. The pain of failing might sting, but it fades. The regret of never trying, that lingers. And let's talk about fear for a moment. Fear is the most insidious part of that wall. It will masquerade as caution, as common sense, as logic. It will tell you that you shouldn't take that risk, that you're not ready, that there's too much to lose. But fear has one job, to keep you in your comfort zone. And your comfort zone, that's the very thing holding you back. Growth, progress, and success. None of these things happen in comfort. They happen when you step outside of it. When you face that fear head on and say, not today. And then there are the excuses. Oh, the excuses. I'm too tired. I don't have time. I'll do it tomorrow. We're all guilty of making it. Excuses are easy, convenient, and comfortable. Let you off the hook. Make it okay to stop, to take it easy. But excuses are just lies we tell ourselves to justify not doing the hard work. And when you allow excuses to build up, they become part of that wall, make it taller, thicker, harder to break through now. You might be thinking, okay, I get it. The wall is there. But how do I break through? The answer, but not easy. Consistency. Consistency is the hammer that breaks down that wall. Not one swing, not two, but day after day, hit 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 after hit, showing up when it's painful. When you're tired, when you'd rather do anything else, that's how you break through. Consistency isn't glamorous. It's not the highlight reel you see. It's not the big moments of victory. It's the grind, the perseverance when no one is watching. It's the alarm going off firing and you dragging yourself out of bed when all you want to is hit snooze. It's staying late, putting in the extra hours when you'd rather relax. It's making the choice day after day to push a little harder, to go a little further, to keep going, even there's no immediate reward in sight. And let me tell you something else. Consistency is not just about effort. It's about belief. You have to believe that the wall can be broken, because if you don't, you're already lost. If you approach that wall thinking it's too high, too strong, too tough to break through, then it will be. Your mind is the most powerful tool you have, and what you believe will shape your reality. If you believe you can break through, you will. If you don't, you'll turn around at the first sign of resistance. When that voice in your head gets loud, and it will, you have to make a choice. Are you going to listen to it, or are you going to fight back? Because that voice is just another part of the wall. It's your insecurities, your fears, your excuses trying to convince you that it's okay to stop. But your commitment, your desire, your hunger for more of those have to be louder. You have to drown out that voice with the sound of your own determination. Every time you push through the pain, every time you go beyond what you thought, you go beyond what you thought you were capable of, you chip away at that wall. And every time you do, you come out stronger on the other side. You start to realize that the wall isn't as solid as it seemed. It's not as impenetrable as you thought. Every challenge you face, every obstacle you overcome makes that wall weaker, makes you stronger. And one day you'll look back and realize that the wall wasn't really there at all. It was just an illusion, a barrier you put up in your own mind that you see. The wall is a test. It's there to see how bad you really want it, to see if you're willing to go the distance, to endure the struggle, to keep moving forward when everything in you wants to quit. Most people will stop at the wall. They'll make their excuses, let their fears take over, and walk away. But you're not most people. If you were, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be standing in front of that wall contemplating how to break through it. You'd already have turned around, but you haven't. And that's the first step. So when you hit that wall, and you will remember this, it's not there to stop you. It's there to see how much you're willing to fight for your dreams, for your goals, for your future. And if you want it bad enough, if you're willing to be consistent, to push past the pain, to push past the pain, to fight through the fear, then that wall will crumble. It has no choice but to fall when faced with unwavering commitment. The pain you feel, the struggle you endure, it's temporary. It's the price of progress, the cost of progress, the cost of greatness. But the pride, the satisfaction, the fulfillment you'll feel when you break through that wall, ain't that last? That's what makes it all work. So don't stop. Don't turn around. Don't let that wall be the end of your journey. Break through it with work. And more importantly, show yourself that what it takes to go the distance. Because on the other side of that wall is everything you've ever wanted. When we think about success, it's easy to get caught up in the final image, the big goal, the reward at the end. We dream about what it feels like to finally reach the pinnacle, to stand at the top and look down at all hard work behind us. It's natural to want to envision success. The promotion, the recognition, the financial security, the sense of accomplishment. That outcome is what drives so many of us to wake up each morning and put in the effort. It's like at the end of the tunnel that keeps us going. The fundamental truth that too many of us forget the outcome isn't everything. In fact, it's just a small part of the story. What truly matters, what shapes you, what prepares you for the outcome is the process. You see, we are trained to chase outcome. From a young age, to think about the reward, getting on a test, winning a trophy, landing a good job, or reaching a particular milestone in life. But here's the thing, if you're only focused on the result, your point, you're ignoring the most crucial part of success. The journey that gets you there. The journey is where the growth happens. It's where the lessons are learned, the character is built, and the real work takes place. It's easy to get in. We live in a world where everything is about instant gratification. We want things now. We want the shortcuts, the hacks, the solutions to our problems. But the truth is, there are no shortcuts to real success. There is no fast track to greatness. The process cannot be bypassed. It's the grind, the day-to-day effort, the consistency that builds foundation for success. The outcome may seem glamorous, but it is the process that truly transforms you. The outcome is a moment, a brief snapshot in time. The moment when you achieve what you set out to do. But that moment is fleeting, passes quickly, and once it's gone, you're left with something far more lasting. Process. The process is the long stretch, journey filled with ups and downs, failures and breakthrough. It's the sweat, the struggle, the late nights, and the early mornings. It's the sacrifices you make, the hard decisions, and the challenges you overcome. And that process is where you find your true strength. That's where you develop the skills, the mind, and the resilience to not only achieve success, but to sustain it. Success doesn't just come to those who want it. It comes to those who need to put in the work, day in and day out, even when the result seems far off, even when the outcome isn't guaranteed. It's easy to stay motivated when the goal is within you. But what about when the goal feels miles away? What about when you're not seeing the progress you expect? That's when the process becomes critical. That's when you have to dig deep and remind yourself that it's not just about the end result. It's about falling in love with the process, trusting that you continue to show up, continue to put in the work, the outcome will eventually take care of itself. Too often, people get discouraged because they're not seeing immediate results. They work hard for a few weeks, maybe even if the outcome doesn't appear right away, they give up. They think they failed because the result isn't there yet. But success doesn't work on a timeline that you can predict. It requires patience. It requires faith in the process, even when you can't see the finish line. And that's where consistency comes in. Consistency forces you to come to the process, to show up every single day, regardless of whether or not the outcome is in sight. It's about doing the right things over and over again, trusting that those small daily actions will eventually lead to the results you desire. Consistency isn't glamorous. It's not flat, but it's the key to success. It's what separates those who dream from those who achieve. When you focus on the process, you allow yourself to grow in ways you never imagined. You become stronger, more disciplined, more resilient. You develop habits that will serve you for a lifetime. You learn to appreciate the small wins, the progress that comes from simply showing and putting in the effort. You begin to understand that the outcome is just a byproduct of the process. It's the process that molds you, that shapes your character, that teaches you the lessons you need to succeed. The process where the real work happens. It's where you discover what you're truly made of. It's where you find your grit, your determination, your drive. And when you commit to the process, you become unstoppable. Because once you've learned to love the journey, once you've embraced the daily grind, there's nothing that can stand in your way. The outcome is no longer your sole focus. It becomes secondary. What matters is that you're putting in the work, that you're staying consistent, that you're doing what needs to be done, regardless of whether or not anyone else is it. And that's the beauty of the process. It's often invisible. People don't see the hours you put in behind these. They don't see the sacrifices you make, the struggles you endure. They only see the outcome, the moment of success. But you know that it's the process that got you there. You know that without the countless hours of effort, without the setbacks and the failures, the outcome would never have been possible. And that knowledge gives you a sense of pride, a sense of accomplishment that goes far beyond the result. And so the next time you find yourself getting caught up in the outcome, take a step back. Remind yourself the process is where the magic happens. The process is where you become the person capable of achieving that outcome. The process prepares you for success. What equips you with the tools you need to not only reach your goal, but to thrive once you've achieved it. You can't control every outcome. Life is unpredictable, and sometimes things don't go the way we plan. But what you can control is your effort, your dedication, your consistency. You can control how you show up every day, how you approach process. And when you focus on the process, when you focus on the process, when you fall in love with the journey, the results will come. They may not come when you expect them, and they may not look exactly how you envision it, but they will come. And when they do, you'll be ready, not just because you wanted the outcome, but because you embraced the process that got you there. So don't chase the result. Don't get so focused on the outcome that you lose sight of the journey. Chase the habit of being consistent. Chase the process, because it's the process that transforms you, that prepares you, takes you into the person you're meant to be. And when you fall in love with the process, when you commit to the journey, the outcome will take care of itself. Accountability